You have to actually train it. Okay. So if you want AI to work for your company, Sally, to work for your company, you want to create this AI agent. That AI agent can do a lot of different things, but really what it's best used for is kind of that task, the repetitive tasks, right? That's the easiest way to build out these AI agents. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and I want to talk about a couple things. So we last week went to an AI conference, and the AI conference was actually really eye-opening. Like I'm not the most technologically advanced guy out there. I'm typically a slow adopter on technology, fairly skeptical a lot of times on technology, but I've seen the power of AI, and one of my investors is running this AI conference, and I wanted to check it out. So I wanted to see more about it. It was amazing. He had 500 people there, a lot of great presenters, and just talking about their experiences with AI and what they've been able to do. And I do think we're on just kind of the start of AI and what it can offer us, which is, of course, a little bit of a scary scenario and a little bit of an exciting, scenario. So I think that we've got we've got some exciting times in the future. We've got some uncertain times in the future, and but I think overall, to me, I liken AI to any technological advance. So if we just look at simply, any tool that we have today, the tractor, for instance. I mean, look, back in the 1800s, before tractors were around, I think it was like 90% of the population, they were farmers, or they're working in a farm in some capacity or another. And today, that's like 12, it's like 12%, 10%, something like that. It's a really small number of people that are farmers or working in a farm. And, among some other technologies, but tractors were the big one. And I think AI is going to do something similar to the internet, the .com, it's like, it's going to be definitely a part of our future. And the things that, people are doing today is exciting. Just wait until we see how AI evolves and transforms and what it becomes over the next, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. If you just think back with the, internet and where it started and where it is today, I mean, it's just amazing how it's evolved and what you do with it on a daily basis. And I mean, if you're going to run any kind of business, you definitely have the internet. Well, likely have the internet. People are, they're building their whole community with AI. So they have board of advisors that are AI agents that they've created. They create these AI agents. And the thing is, I think it was really interesting to hear is like an AI agent that you create. So you got Sally, and Sally's your executive assistant or whatever Sally might be. But Sally starts out as the intern, and Sally starts out as this kind of dumb intern, doesn't know anything, hasn't really had any experiences. And that's how Sally starts out. But within a couple weeks, Sally is now no longer the intern. She is a seasoned, employee. Within a month, she's no longer just a seasoned employee. She's a tenured employee. Within a few months, she's no longer just the tenured employee, but she becomes one of your most valuable employees. And within a year, Sally's doing the job of 5 other people because she's just so good. And she doesn't make mistakes. She knows what she's doing. And she gets the culture of the company, all that kind of stuff. And that's how, they laid out how AI can evolve. And so, but AI, that was really interesting. And I didn't understand this truly, that what you have to actually train it. Okay. So if you want AI to work for your company, Sally, to work for your company, you want to create this AI agent. That AI agent can do a lot of different things, but really what it's best used for is kind of that task, the repetitive tasks, right? That's the easiest way to build out these AI agents is repetitive tasks that AI can handle. It can be creative certainly, but not necessarily your super creative or super thought processed tasks. It's not going to, at least at this point in time, it's not going to be the visionary of the company, right? So that's just not what the AI agent is for. But if you've got fairly repetitive tasks, that's a perfect scenario. But what it is you have to give it a directive and talk about the company and who you are and your culture and the things that are important in your company. And it was one gal was talking about social media tasks. And one of the things that she says to create is, look, you want to give it a 7 to 10 page, maybe even longer document that tasks out, that shows who you are and talks about your communication style, your personality, your values, your vision, all that kind of stuff, what's important to you. And then when you were going to create posts on social media or whatever it might be, you're going to then have important topics that you want to talk about, but then also directives and how to talk about those specific topics. Because look, everybody's got different personality and different beliefs around a system. So if you just tell AI to, hey, write an article about XYZ, and the more like politicized it is, or the more controversial it is, the less you're going to get your authentic self unless you've actually taught it your belief system, right? You're just going to get a computer generated, very apolitical, very basic, kind of post or just personality. It's not going to give you anything. It's not going to sound like you, feel like you, be like you. And so it's not going to look genuine. So that's certainly super important as you're building out any AI agent. So, look, AI is going to take away jobs. I certainly believe it will. It'll take away jobs, but what I think it's going to do is it's going to actually create more job opportunities. I do. I don't think like people are going to be sitting around wondering what do they do with their lives because AI is taking all the jobs. I don't think that is truly the case. I think what AI will do is to replace jobs that a computer can simply replace and create jobs that a computer has a difficulty of truly doing. And so it's going to create new opportunities. It's going to create different opportunities. It's going to create an evolving list of opportunities. And I think anybody that's young, and quite frankly, everybody should be thinking, what do I do today that can get replaced with AI tomorrow? And first of all, how can I take advantage of that positively? And second of all, if that's the case, then I'm going to be replaced. What can I do right now to make sure that I'm not replaceable, other than just saying forget this AI thing. We shouldn't have it. No, we will have it. It'll only evolve. So what can you do to work either within it, all right, or work around it, work and use AI being beneficial? So that's my AI rant. I think it's really cool. I think it's exciting. Well, actually, here's another thing on AI. I think we're in a bubble. I don't think we're in a technology AI bubble. I think AI is going to continue to evolve. And so I think we're not in an AI technology bubble, but I think we are in an economic AI bubble, similar to the .com. When I look at the valuations of the stock market right now, and then you look at, like the Warren Buffett indicator, the Case-Shiller indicator, like they're flashing red. They're totally flashing red, saying
there is a stock market crash that's going to happen. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen in 6 months or in 2 years, 3 years, whatever it might be. But I can't imagine it's going to stay hot like this forever, for a long period of time. And when you look at these companies, they have been massively overvalued in anticipation of AI actually being super, super profitable. And we haven't seen AI be as profitable as the valuations are. So what I think we have is a very similar scenario with .com, is that people understand that the internet was the future of retail sales and so on. They understood that. However, they understood that, so they overvalued these companies, right? They way overvalued. And a lot of these companies, I mean, look them up, like a lot of companies in the 2000s went bankrupt, when they went belly up. And I think the same thing is going to happen today, is that people are overvaluing these AI companies. And I think a lot of them are going to go away. I think they're not going to make nearly as much money as what people are anticipating today. By the way, today. In the future, yes. But what are we talking about? 10 years, 15 years? Like, how long in the future? And can the economy and the stock market sustain this over exuberance, right? Do the companies become profitable enough, fast enough for that profitability to catch up to the valuations? I think the answer to me is no. Time will tell. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Well, actually, I kind of don't hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. And I think we're going to see some pain in the stock market. I told some Halloween horror stories. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably saw some reels, Halloween horror stories. And I think they're kind of fun. So check that out too. If you don't follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. You'll see the Halloween horror stories. I told a bunch of stories about just different landlord things that I've experienced, when I was especially first started. But even I mean, some of the stories, one of the stories is from like 2023, 2024. I wasn't directly involved in it, but it's like I still hear the stories that are happening in our apartments. One of my favorite ones is like 3 days, 4 days. Maybe it was probably a little bit longer after that, but we closed on this apartment building, 120 unit apartment building, and this guy fell asleep. And if you've listened to my podcast, you've probably heard the story before. But this guy fell asleep behind the wheel. And he went off the road while he's sleeping, driving his car. And he went off the road. He literally went in between two trees, like mirror to mirror. His car somehow went in between these two trees and struck my building and went right through the brick wall of the building into one of my residents' bedrooms. And so the front end of his car was hanging over the bed. She literally was like, I think she was in bed, if I remember right. I think she was in bed. She got out of bed to go use the restroom, maybe. And while that was happening, this car went through her wall and right over her bed. So had she still been in bed, she would have had a bunch of bricks like land over her and literally a vehicle sitting over her head, which would be, a nightmare, a real life nightmare while you're awake. So that was a crazy situation. Now I got a phone call. I can't remember what time, like 2:00 in the morning, midnight, whatever it might be, from the gal that was managing my property at the time. And she's like, "Hey, just blah, blah, blah happened." And I'm like, "Yeah, what? I don't know what to do. Like, call the police and, like, we'll figure it out in the morning, but I'm not going to jump on a flight and fly to, it was in Lexington, Kentucky. Like, I'm not going to jump on a flight and fly to Lexington, Kentucky. And even if I could, there's nothing I can do. So you got to call the right people, get the whole boarded, get the vehicle towed out of the building, all that kind of stuff. But the crazy things, there's a lot of crazy things that happen when you own properties. Just continue to be crazy. Some some just kind of annoying things, some weird, like head scratching things, and then just some wild things like a guy falling asleep and literally going right through our brick wall into the building and, being stuck over somebody's bed. That building had to get shut down for, geez, I mean, it was quite a few months, 6 months, 5 months, until it got repaired and then opened back up with the city. And of course, insurance covered it all, and we were just fine. But just goes to show you that, hey, if you want to be an active investor, you got to have thick skin. You got to be ready for crazy things to happen, and you got to be okay with it. And you have to be able to learn how to deal with those situations and know how to act in those situations. And that's a really important thing. Like just walking through that scenario and understanding, okay, what are the things that I need to do? I'm responsible for certain things, right? And I have to have the right people in place that are responsible for other things. So we had to have maintenance people that could put a board over that hole. We had to contact our insurance company right away, right? To make sure we go through that process, and then make sure that we've got the contractors on site to be able to provide us the proper bids so that we can work properly with our insurance company to get that solved as quickly as possible. By the way, we've got loss of rents because we've got tenants that no longer can live in this building. They condemned the city condemned the building. So I think it was 8 residents that could no longer live in that building. So we had to make sure that got covered. Of course, we had to put people up in hotel rooms temporarily because we didn't necessarily have a spot for every single one of them into a unit that we had. We couldn't just move them around. So we had to completely lose some residents and have hotel room stays and that kind of stuff paid for. So we had to make sure that we were communicating well with the insurance company throughout the entire process, our property manager, of course. The police and the fire department, the city, all had to be communicated with properly during this whole situation. And so it's really important, if you're going to be an active investor, that you understand the people that are in place for a situation like this, that you have the right people in place for this type of situation. Look, if you're managing a single family home or a duplex or something small like that, you might not have those people. And so you have to make sure that you actually have those people. It's really important. The worst thing that could happen is you don't know who to talk to. And then that scenario happens and you're sitting here scrambling last minute trying to figure things out. That's when things get really expensive. And that's when big mistakes happen that are going to cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you don't have the right people on your team and people in place when those scenarios do happen. Look, we had another one where the pipe burst and flooded down this unit, and it was middle of winter, super cold, and it actually created an ice wall in front of somebody's door, right? Like, you can't make that stuff up. Like, this person couldn't get out their front door because they literally had an ice wall in front of their front door. It was a waterfall coming from above them all the way down to the ground, and it completely blocked them in. The fire department had to come with chainsaws and cut a doorway open for these people to be able to get in and out of their apartment building. And of course, then we have to have the right people in place to be able to solve the situation. So obviously we got to get the water shut off. We got to get the repair fixed, right? And it's not just the plumbing repair. Certainly that's got to be first, but then we got to get rid of all this ice. Then we got to fix, obviously drywall and flooring, and we got to make sure it doesn't happen again. So we got to make sure the right insulation's in place and the ventilation and all that kind of stuff. And that's super important. Now, if you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, that's great. That's why we offer, syndications for people that don't want to deal with it, that type of stuff. You can be passive. There's a lot of different ways to be passive in real estate investing, and opportunities to become passive in real estate investing. And whether you want to invest in a syndication or invest as a hard money lender, invest in a fund, there's just a lot of different, as a REIT, there's a lot of different scenarios for you to be able to get involved more passively in real estate. So where you don't have to think about and deal with those types of scenarios, and you're probably maybe only just hearing about it from a monthly update that's happening on the property. So anyways, crazy stuff. I wasn't going to talk about that, but hey, sometimes crazy stuff comes up in my mind, and I feel like I got to cover it. All right. You have a fantastic rest of the day, and make every day a Saturday.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.